All right, students. We're going to talk a little bit about 10.1 extra practice. Hopefully, you've taken your notes for section 10.1 through um, the, the videos that we've provided. But now I want to take you through Student Journal 10.1, which you can download through the PowerSchool website, but you can also um, pick up copies at the office when the office is open and such. So basically what we're going to be doing is these extra practice worksheets. So we've talked about skew. You've read about skew lines, perpendicular lines, parallel planes, and things of that nature. So this page in section 280 is going to be what we're going to be doing for practice. We're going to be focusing on the line FG, and we want to make sure that as I draw FG, we focus right on that because that's what we're going to be talking about. Now, we also have to work on in the directions. All of our answers have to go through point B. So point B is right there. Okay, so if you were to look at this trapezoidal figure, you're looking at FG being an edge of the trapezoidal feature on the top edge here, where B is not on the top edge. It's on the front edge of the trapezoidal three-dimensional figure. Okay, so point B is through there. So basically, if we want to be able to do anything to answer these questions, we want to line skew through B to this red line FG. So now, okay, so FG is right here. Skew means that we're going to be non-parallel and not in the same plane. So non-parallel and not in the same plane means that these lines right here will never touch. Okay, so if you were to have those lines right here created, we're not going to have those lines ever intersect, but yet they're not on the same plane. You can tell right away that if these were two pieces of paper, you would not ever have them touch, and because they would be not in the same plane. Okay, so that's that one. So we're gonna make sure that we highlight that. So BC, line BC, it would be the answer to that. Okay, so we're going to switch out, and we're going to switch out to a different color. All right, and now we want to do a line perpendicular to FG. So perpendicular has two choices here. So now perpendicular means we have to be on the same plane. So we're going to intersect. So those would be on the same plane, intersecting through G. So that BG would be perpendicular, but also AF is going to be perpendicular as well. So AF is perpendicular. Okay, so line parallel to FG. We're going to change colors again so that we don't get confused about what we're trying to do. So line parallel to FG, we got two lines there too. So we're going to draw the line parallel, meaning same plane, but yet not intersecting. So AB. And then we also have this line right along here, which is the other back side of that trapezoidal figure, and that is EH. Okay, so therefore that you have those particular figures right there. All right, and now line parallel, I'm going to use a little bit of my highlighter here. So if we take a look at this plane, all right, which is the back side of that trapezoidal figure, and we create a plane. Let's try a different color. Let's try this purple color right here. This plane is parallel to that plane right there. So we're going to do plane ABC or ABD would be another way to write that. Any of those planes, because we use 3 letters to create planes in that scenario. Okay, so there's that particular problem. All right, this particular problem here, 5, 6, 7, and 8 uses this figure. So this figure here, is a little bit confusing because there's quite a few lines there going through there. But if we create pair of parallel lines, remember, anytime I have an extra little arrow, drawn in there, and, that's not a very accurate picture, but these little arrows right here are going to tell you that those lines are parallel. So you can see that in the sections that we are looking at here, right there, those lines mean parallel. And then also, if you were to look at these lines right here. So using the same colors to create those diagrams, we're going to use lines parallel. We're going to be UV. And RQ. And if we go to green, we're going to do WX. And YZ. Okay, so those are the lines that are parallel. Perpendicular is going to be focused on a different symbol. This symbol here is going to be a perpendicular right angle scenario right there. So we're going to be looking at, in this scenario, that perpendicular lines are going to be ST. And then we also have UV here. Okay, so that perpendicular scenario happens. Now, what's interesting is, and you'll learn this in a different section, I believe, is because these 2 yellow lines are parallel, that this QR is also perpendicular to ST as well. But we're going to talk about that because we're going to have to talk about, first we have to talk about these angles. But you're going to learn that here in a little bit, all right? So here are just some couple questions that we can answer in number number 7. Okay, so number 7 is WX, parallel to QR. Obviously, this green section paired with that yellow section does not mean that those are parallel, so I would say no. It doesn't tell us where they intersect, but they do intersect. Those lines intersect. So I'm always going to try my best to explain, because as I've always told the students, you need to make sure you tell me what you know. Those lines intersect. If you knew where they intersected, you would say that. And then is ST perpendicular? All right. If we go to number 8, is ST, this line right here, perpendicular to NV? NV is just a continuation or a sub line of UV. So we've already said that those 2 lines are perpendicular. So yes. And then the explanation is they intersect at a 90-degree angle. Okay, so that's that particular problem. Again, you can stop this at any point in time. So I'm not a big fan of this problem coming up here. This problem uses the concept of 3 lines in our scenario. The reason that I don't like this problem is because we could create, there are 3 pairs, 3 sections of angles. If you took your good book notes and you you read all those three sections of angles right there. You need to determine which one you're going to use as a transversal, in my opinion. Otherwise, you're going to be listing a whole slew of pairs of corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles, and alternate or consecutive interior. So we gotta distinguish between what we're going to try to accomplish based off of this information. Otherwise, this is going to get really clouded here, and we just want to be very clear. So in order to do that, I'm going to erase this and try my best to point out which lines are we going to actually work with. All right. So my transversal is going to be this line right here. Okay. So this is my transversal line. We'll call that line L. All right. So line L is my transversal. And what that does is it sets up for me not to even look at these numbers right here. So we're going to cross those out, and we're just going to work with these pairs of angle sets, okay, to be able to highlight what are the corresponding, what are the alternate interior, what are the alternate exterior, what are the consecutive interior. So we're only going to be working with these two pairs of lines because it actually changes when you add the original lines that were in this 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? So we're going to work with this pair, and we're going to start with corresponding. So in red, I'm going to take angle 5, and I would say that angle 5 and angle 10 are corresponding. Okay, if you remember from your notes, okay, angle 5 and angle 10 are on the same side of the transversal in the same location of the what I call the intersection of the two streets. Okay, so if you looked and you're driving along, you know, this street right here, 5 and 10 are in the same location of the intersection if you are driving along this direction, all right, to be able to do that. So if you gave a compass-like direction, that would be in the northwest corner if you were driving north here, all right, the northwest corner of the intersection, all right? So that's kind of a brief understanding of that. I'm gonna undo some of that drawing so we can kind of work on this. Also, if you want to do corresponding angles, and we could also do pair 6. Uh-oh, let's go back to red. All right, 6 and 12, angle 6 and angle 12. Okay, we also can pair 8 and 11, angle 8 and angle 11, and then finally 9 and 7. Okay, so those are the descriptions of those angles, all corresponding, and trying to get that figured out. Again, if we added this scenario, then that scenario would make this problem very difficult to understand where are my answers. And I'm just concerned right now with, being able to, get you to understand the pairs of the angles, okay, that we talked about. Okay, so now we're going to change colors. We'll go to this darker blue color, all right, and we're going to talk about alternate interior angles. Now, when you talk about this pair, okay, this pair alternate interior, so we're going to go inside. So the inside is inside this scenario. Here's my two lines. Here's my transversal. This is inside. All of this area are inside my two lines. Okay, so you got to focus on that scenario, all right, when we're doing this. All right, so inside here is 8, and then alternate means we're going to switch sides of the transversal to get to 10. So angle 8 and angle 10 are alternate interior. Okay, that corresponds then to angle 7 and angle 12. Angle 7 and angle 12 are also alternate interior angles, okay? So looking at those, All right, now we have, we're going to go to a different color. We're going to go to a light blue for the next one here. All right, so alternate exterior. Now we're in the exterior parts. We're out here. All right, we're in this. If I change to a highlighter, where the exterior is out here and out here. Okay, so we want to try to create alternate exterior. So here is 6. All right, and alternate of that transversal is 9, angle 6 and angle 9, and then finally 5 and 11, angle 5 and angle 11. Okay, so again, we're in the interior. So now we want to change gears, and we want to go to the interior of those. So this then is what I would call the interior of the 2 lines cut by that transversal. All right, so exterior and interior. And now what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about how we're going to find the consecutive interior. So consecutive interior, I'll try to use a contrasting color. Consecutive means the same side. So if I take a look at this 8 and 12, those are consecutive interior 8 and angle 12. And then finally, consecutive interiors angle 7 and angle 10. Okay, so interior, same side. That's kind of what we're looking at right there. Okay, so that concludes the notes for section 10.1. I'm going to save that, in our, so we can kind of post that as well. I'd like you to follow that along in our YouTube channel and see if you can, create something, a little bit of help for you before you take the assignment. Thank you.